All right, and welcome to this episode of Hammering Down, presented to you by no one because I'm a free agent. Someone please sign me on a freebie. I am joined by two of the fat lads of Fat Lads Going Goal. Number one, I've been joined by someone from the past, but now in the present, a fat lad with a golf complex, Mr. Mark Watson.
How are you doing?
Doing well. And I'm also being joined to the man that is below me on the screen. And I'm everything Pugh wants. I am everything Pugh needs. I'm everything inside of Pugh that he wishes he could be. I say all the right things at exactly the right time, but I mean nothing to Pugh, and I don't know why. Mr. Chris Pugh, how you doing?
Oh, that's made my day.
I might just die tonight. I don't think it's ever going to get any better than that. Yeah, good evening. Thanks for having me on. Brilliant to be here.
Unfortunately, Jack couldn't be with us, but that's all right. I am taking his place for today, so it's fine.
You can be the good-looking one.
Yeah. So, before the recording started, I apparently don't know how timetables or like how times work because I just got off work probably about 20 minutes ago, and I get a message saying that Mark had joined the call, and I was expecting him to join the call about an hour later than he joined it. So I had to sprint upstairs and figure everything out. So if you're listening to this and wondering why it sounds different, I'm not in my normal recording studio. I can't think of the last time I have been. So I guess it's not too different for you guys. So
basically what it means is it's all my fault. That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I'm always about 10 minutes late anyway. So it gave you a little bit more time.
It all worked out. So per usual, I mean, the season's starting to ramp up for you guys. The Legion are in full swing. We are currently sitting at second, only one behind the leader in our division, who is pretty much the favorites to win the championship. So we're sitting right behind them and maybe could get a home game. But you guys are in the middle of friendlies right now, and that, of course, being Birmingham City. You guys have had a quiet and off season so far, especially, and it's not really been that you guys have been signing people. It's more than last year. It feels like there is not exactly hope of like promotion or stuff like that, but just wow, we have the right people in the front office for the first time in years. Am I reading the room right?
Yes, but if you scroll back far enough on Twitter, you'll see the same last year and the same the year before that. And the same the year before that. This is what Blues do. We get all excited about a couple of signings. We convince ourselves that we're going to absolutely piss the league. We win the first game. We draw the next 3 games. And then we're going to lose in streak of about 8. And then we want to sack the manager about halfway through. So, yeah, you've caught us at the right time. But come back to us in 10 to 12 weeks' time and we'll probably tell you a different story.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like for more than ever, because last year it was like, yeah, we had Karanka, we're going to go up. The Blues are going up. And then it's like, but don't forget, we also have Dong. Pugh, with Dong out, I mean, what's stopping the Blues from going up now?
Pugh, is your Dong out?
Yeah, to be fair, any time you get Dong out is a reason to celebrate. So, no, I think that is such a massive root of optimism. This off season more than any, like Mark said, we've had off seasons in the past where we've made decent signings. We've kept hold of Harry Redknapp over the summer or Gary Monk, and then like you said last year, Karanka came in and there was optimism. But I think this summer in particular, the fact that the head of the organisation has gone, and there's a bit more. It's the most basic things, but like the club will tweet a fortnightly update of what's going on. Like I think they've done 3 now, and every single one has said, "Well, we'll announce the kits soon. Like we're getting round to it." But like even that is cause for optimism at the moment, and then tie that in with the signings that we've already made this summer, and I think everybody's middle of July. We've just had a decent European Championships as well, and I think everybody's getting a little bit excitable.
I mean, for you guys, obviously the Euros were a lot of excitement and then just massive disappointment. And then everybody else around the world finding out that Europe or England specifically absolutely loves cocaine.
Yeah, we do love cocaine. I can't deny that.
It is on my CV, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just
We'll
seems...
do anything for cocaine.
I mean,
we're here now because of cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, you have two kids. That's what's keeping you up, really.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have, I mean, for anybody who's a Legion fan or from stateside who's following you guys, I mean, if you look at the website, pretty much every single person on the club website right now was on the team last year, minus a few faces, but there isn't really anybody new that's just like that most people don't recognize. You're talking about like all the new signings. Who are City fans really excited about?
Oh, now you're asking. We've got the lad who's not actually with the team at the moment. He's still with United. I can't pronounce his first name, so I'm not going to attempt it.
Tahit.
Do you know what? I will attempt it. Tahith Chong.
Tahit.
I might have just murdered that name, but I apologise if I have, Tahith. Probably just
the effort was there. The effort
was there, man. I tried, and that's all that matters.
You get a medal for trying. Well
cheers, mate. Appreciate that. He scored against. Can I have cocaine instead? He scored against Derby, wasn't it, in a friendly? He stayed with United during the preseason because they're resting all their Euro stars. He could be the best loanee we've had for years, or he could be a massive flop. Who knows? It would be typical Birmingham City to get a name that people know and a name that is big on things like FIFA, and him to be utter crap.
Yeah,
but I'm excited.
I mean, I'm sure that in some way the fans are going to have a flag or have a chant that revolve around Cheech and Chong in some way, because I'm sure that's on the way some way. But I mean, you're talking about a better loanee. I know it's coming from a higher organization like Man U. And I mean, I get it. Chong was awesome in my Newport County save on FIFA. He was the single reason that, we won the Champions League. But I mean, he's been
What a moment for the town of Newport, by the way. Absolutely incredible.
Well done, realism Newport. In FIFA that I like.
Well done.
Hey, the one player could change it. I mean, really, my Newport County save was just it was Angel Gomez and oh my god, and Chong. So basically, I was just rating the Man U Youth Academy and then just making it in Newport. So, but I mean, he's been a little underrated, but then he was overrated, and then I don't know where he's rated now. But Riley McGree, I mean, where does he sit? Because he seems like he's the best loanee aside from Chong that you guys, and he's been a stud every time I watched him.
He's halfway between Australia and literally halfway between Australia and America. Yeah. That is where he belongs at the moment. Yeah.
Carolina he's going to.
Charlotte
FC.
Charlotte's in North Carolina.
Yeah. Okay, fair point. Yeah, but no, I think whenever he's played, he has never really put a foot wrong. He's put in energetic performances. He's looked good on the ball. He's looked creative. I think he played left wing back a couple of times last season and did a shift there as well. So wherever he's been deployed, whenever he's been deployed, he's certainly never let the team down. And I think, the fact that he's still here for next season as well is a massive boost for us. And I expect him to have a bit more of a regular spot in the side next season.
Yeah, it looks like we're not keeping hold of Alan Halilovic.
Yeah, that one hurts.
Yeah,
struggling.
But it's not the end of the world because I think Riley McGree can fit that mould. I really think he's considering he came to us. I'm sure you're aware, Kayla, and he did the interview where he referred to Birmingham City as a stepping stone.
Yeah.
And he didn't mean it offensively. I mean, he's right in what he said. We are literally a stepping stone over to America. But for someone who supposedly slagged us off by calling us a stepping stone, there were times when he was putting more effort in than most of the other players on that pitch last season.
Mm.
I really rate him, and I think the fact that we've extended his loan is a very good thing.
I mean, last year you had guys on the pitch who could have been doing cocaine. We don't know, but other people who
Which they were.
Well, there was one guy in particular.
It's happened before.
It's true.
Happened before. It'll happen again.
I mean, there was one guy. If there was anybody doing cocaine, there was a certain guy who probably had to stay up late nights to make sure that his dog's balls were all right. So,
yeah, Harley Dean, who has been very anti-vax, anti-COVID. COVID's a hoax. COVID doesn't exist. Our goalkeeper has just got out of hospital after having COVID. So that would be an interesting conversation in the dressing room.
Well, today's the 19th, right? So COVID ended for you guys, right?
Oh, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Harley was right.
Harley was right all along.
I mean, Neil was fine, right? He was okay for July 19th. Yeah, he knew when to get better.
True. It's all propaganda.
Yeah.
They just wanted to make a point that he was better by today. Everybody would be better by today, and it's fine.
I do love a cutoff point for a global pandemic. Yeah. It's good.
What do you guys even think of Neil Etheridge? Because he's a good shot stopper, but then he has like 3 howlers, in the span of 2 games, and then he'll go on a spree of being good, and then he'll just completely miss a ball. That makes no sense.
I think he saved more points for us than he gave away last season. I think it's the problem with goalkeepers in general. If they make a mistake, they're vilified. But that ball's got past 10 other blokes before it's got to the point of the team having a shot. You could have Harry Kane, for example, at the Euros, who barely had a shot on target. And although people had a pop at him, he didn't get dropped. And he was still recognised as the best option we got and he's the best striker, etc. If Pickford made a few howlers, chances I'd have been dropped. The goalkeeper is one of the highest positions to play, in my opinion, because you're constantly under the microscope, because too many people ball watch and don't look at the defensive mistakes that led up to goals. I think Etheridge is as good as we've got and as good as we're going to get in this division. I know they're looking at apparently bringing in Bettinelli from Fulham, who I know stats are for Prats, but if you look at his stats, they're not that great. Certainly not as good as Etheridge. But whether Etheridge will be ready for the start of the season is anyone's guess at the moment.
I mean,
sorry, go on, Kyler.
No, I mean, I think that Etheridge was definitely a solid pickup for you guys. But you're talking about keepers who are, who being linked to the club. I've been trying to keep up with who was linked to the club, but there was that one span where every single person who never put on boots before was also linked to the club. So I have no idea what's going on when it comes to you guys. What are you even looking for? I mean, you can look at any championship club and say there's holes everywhere compared to different levels and depending on where they are. But really, where are the holes within that club?
Owner. No, I think you're right. I think when you've staved off relegation on the last day of the season, 3 out of the last 5 years, there's naturally going to be quite a few places that you'd like to strengthen. Based on the performances in the last few games under Bowyer last season, I think you probably do want every single club in the world would want a goal scorer that can guarantee you 20 to 25 goals. That's going to cost you money, which we don't have a lot of. And I think some of the areas, I think another centre half, we've just signed a young lad from Wolves today on loan, so that's a centre half position that's give us a bit more strength in depth, as Mark said, with the uncertainty over how long Etheridge will take to get back to any sort of match fitness. Probably cover for keeper, because the last couple of games showed, where we conceded 5 at home to Cardiff and 5 away to Blackburn, probably shows that the keepers aren't quite ready for the young keepers, that is, for a championship season. So there's there's certain areas of it, midfield we've lacked for a long time, a ball playing midfielder, but Ryan Woods coming in hopefully will be that man. So yeah, I think areas that we always seem to look to improve. We have done a bit this season. If we can get another striker who is prolific at this level, then you might be looking at if everybody stays fit, a top 12 side.
Mark, you and I talked about this a little bit before, but I mean, we talked about how under Dong and under Kranka that they just didn't understand the players that they had, right?
Yeah,
and we talked about how, a lot of people, and including some Birmingham City fans or even anybody who's a fan of the English Championship, right, where they want to expect a team to come in and play this really sexy brand of football. They want to look just absolutely beautiful the whole time, but that's just not the Championship. It's scrappy, it's counterattacking, it's get your goals where they come and, bag them where you can. Obviously, everybody wants a 20 to 25, goal scorer. And, I'm sure that there is a diamond in the rough somewhere, and maybe even the academy system. It seems like there's a few studs down there that might be able to move their way up. But with a coach in Lee Boyer who understands what he has now, and we saw that in the last, 8 matches he was there. When did he show up? Was it 8 matches left in the season?
I think it was about 10, but 10. Yeah, we were safe by 8. We were safe with 2 to go. So yeah, 8 important matches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, just knowing what you have, I mean, why wouldn't Juke or a Scott Hogan be an answer, especially now that they're realizing that they can, I don't know, cross the ball in the air as opposed to just trying to shove it down the throats for no reason?
What is this witchcraft you talk of?
Let me write this down. How do you spell cross that ball?
Yeah, when Bowyer come in some of his first interviews, he just kept reiterating the fact that we got a bloke in the middle who's about 8'10", just cross the ball in, stick it on his head, he'll put it in the net, simple as that. And that's what Duke does, and that's what he always has done his whole career. The problem is, whilst that works and that works well, that doesn't get you promoted. That gets you mid-table, that possibly pushes you to the playoffs. That doesn't really get you promoted. As Pugh said, there isn't a team in that division that doesn't want a striker. It's how do you get them and how do you afford them? We are hoping, that Chuck Sanike will possibly be that player. We are praying to every god. I think there's about 3,000 of them. We're praying to at least 99% of them that Lico decides to be a footballer. He scored against Cheltenham, which I mean, my dog could possibly do. But that's I know that's a bit harsh, isn't it? I apologise. Not that Lico will ever watch this, but I apologise, Jonathan.
There you go. No. Well, I'm worried about the Cheltenham fan base that we've got.
Oh yeah, you worried?
The large contingent of Cheltenham followers.
Since I've said that, my dog's put her shin pads on and she's looking for a call up. So you never know.
I've heard she's been linked to Blues, actually.
I'll tweet that out later. Yeah, Hogan is the ultimate confidence player. When he's on fire, he's a ball of fire. But when he's cold, he's ice, baby. Doom, 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 doom. He's freezing cold and he just doesn't fire at all. Duke, again, is not the best with his feet. It's all about his head. We do need someone who can stick the ball in the net with their feet. And like I say, I'm hoping it's Anike or my dog.
I mean, that was the thing. And Mark and I talked about this a little bit before you hopped on, Pugh. But I mean, Lico, he always seems to have the talent, but it just never seems to show up because, I mean, he makes bad decisions. He makes bad shots. He doesn't really finish the ball. But then there's other times where you'll see him possess the ball and it's like, okay, he has a good first touch. He can dribble just a little bit. It seems like whenever he gets around the 18-yard box, he just has no idea what he wants to do. It's like he gets stuck between, excuse my, basketball analogy. It seems like he gets stuck between being a point guard where he wants to pass it or if he wants to be just a straight up shooter. It's like he doesn't know who he wants to be. Do you think that's a confidence thing, or if it's just one of those things that he doesn't know what kind of player he is yet because he is a young guy?
Yeah, great analogy. I think that's a really accurate
Oh
representation.
yeah, because you know everything about basketball, don't you? How many players on the basketball team, Pugh?
I know absolutely nothing.
No, exactly. I understood it.
Sounded good. Yeah, I think we spoke a lot about Lico last season, and he was vilified quite a bit by supporters. Like we said, there was so many reasons last year for him not showing his best form. And I think every week went by and people were desperate for him to show, really what he can do. And it never quite materialized. He's got a full preseason now under a manager that knows how to work with him, has worked with him before, trusts him is the big thing, knows what position is going to be his best position in this side with these players. I think, really at the start of this season is where we can start to judge Lico. You're right. Last season there were many stages where he'd lose possession and try and chase back and clumsily give a foul away because he's made the initial mistake and things like that, and shooting when he could have passed and passed when he had a shot on, and but I think really the start of this season is where we can really start to judge Lico, and with a full preseason behind him, with a manager that trusts him, hopefully, touch wood, he really hits the ground running, and we've got a player on our hands, the player that we hoped we'd have when we bought him last summer.
The player that Bowyer had at Charlton.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about Lee Bowyer, and it's kind of interesting, and I just want to know what Blue fans. I know, obviously, I know what all the Blue fans think of Lee. He's pretty much he's come back, and he knows the club, he knows the supporters, and he knows the kind of brand of football that you guys want to see. It's not even just as disconnected as Dong was. I mean, there's no question about that. But how many actual Birmingham City fans really sat there and was like, yeah, we love tiki-taka football. We want to be the next Pep Guardiola. I mean, I doubt there was any Birmingham City fans that are like, God, that was the team I wanted us to be back in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Lee Bowyer knows that,
I think we want to be that. Everyone
you'd never turn it down, would you? Do you know what I mean? That's the thing. You'd never turn that down. If someone promised it, if someone promised it that you'd be successful at playing that style of football, then you'd take that all day long. Like, what a glorious thing to watch every week. But like Mark said,
the problem is
you are a championship side, and you have to be realistic at times.
You don't want to see us attempting to be that side when we know full well we're not. I think that's the point you're making.
Foolish. You look absolutely foolish.
Yeah, we're all sat there in the stands going, "Stop this now! Stop this! Just cross the ball. Just put the ball up to the big man." No,
there's that word again.
Word. C, curly C, R,
like my name.
Like your name, yeah.
Sir. Two
sirs.
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
So, I mean, but the thing is and Mark and I discussed this last time, people highly regarded, Leeds as being, this sexy brand of football back in the championship. If you've watched them, they were not any more sexy than any other team. All they were was clinical. I mean,
and they absolutely worked their ass off every single game. Like, run further than any team, run quicker than any team, pressed higher than any team. It was so much about energy and work rate rather than just, they were good on the ball as well, but that was such a massive part of what they did.
Correct.
I mean, but kind of going back to the idea of knowing what you're dealing with. I mean, knowing the supporters, knowing the level that you're at, knowing English football in general. I mean, how big of a help has Craig Gardner been for you guys? I mean, it seems like you guys are getting actually linked with real players and guys. It's like, wow, a couple of years ago, I would never imagine seeing Blues being linked with this kind of guy, or there being real links there of like they're talking contracts, not they called their agent once and got hung up on.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like Blues fans are probably really excited to have someone who knows their culture within the front office. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's what we've missed for a very long time, really. Since we've had Chinese owners. I will defend our owners to an extent because they have chucked money at us in the hope that it sticks and we buy the right players and we shoot up the league. They've put their trust and faith in the wrong people. We got, I can't remember their first names, Dean and Verity. That as our directors of football who knew nothing but how to take large percentages of contracts in their own wallet. But now we've got, as you say, homegrown Craig Gardner. We're managed by Lee Bowyer, who's won our biggest accolade to date with us. We've got the right people in the right place to an extent. And yeah, Craig Gardner seems to be going through all the youth academies where he's played in the past and just sweeping up players that he kind of heard of on the grapevine. Chong is the big one for me, purely the name. Again, it might be a massive disappointment, but that is a sign of intent. The fact that Man United would trust us to have one of their future stars. They did it with Jesse Lingard. He scored 4 goals in his first game for us. And they swiftly had him back about 11 games after, I think. The fact that Chong he's not just a random youth player that you've probably never heard of before. He is a somewhat of a name. And the fact that he's wanted to come to us is somewhat of a coup. But then it was always a bit of a shock to me that someone of Etheridge's stature would come to us as well. We do attract names sometimes. Perhaps we offer them silly money to come here. Perhaps they're more foolish than we give them credit for. I don't know. But yeah, it's great to have a Birmingham boy trying to make these deals and make these moves. And he obviously played in the same team as Bowyer. He's working well with Bowyer. I'm guessing, did he just want to bring his own assistant manager in, Pugh? Is that basically how Craig Gardner fell into this role?
Yeah, or probably, yeah. I think, Bowyer obviously would have wanted his own backroom staff. So
yeah, and they weren't going to sack him. So
no,
they said, I'll tell you what, do this job. Oh shit, you're quite good at this job.
Hang on. What?
Hang on, this works.
What?
What? He's just DMing every footballer he knows on Instagram. Do you want to play for us?
Hello, unnamed footballer. I think, like Mark said, for so long now, one of the main criticisms thrown at the club is that there's the connection between supporters and the club has gone, and there's the people in charge making football decisions don't know about football. But now you've got, listen, I don't know the guy, like I'm about to completely tear into him, but he might be a absolute Mensa genius, but Craig Gardner doesn't seem the business mogul kind of person, but he gets football. He's played football for 20 odd years, and he gets this club, and this club means a hell of a lot to him as a supporter of it. So yeah, I think it just made sense. It came a bit out of the blue, but when you sit back and think about it, it did. It just fell into place quite nicely and made sense.
Do you think Craig Gardner knows how to spell the word cross?
He does now. If he watches this,
I've got it down. If you want, Craig, I'll send it you in the post.
So
yeah.
Now, after I heard Craig Gardner got announced as, what was it? Is he just like hiring football talent, obviously? But what do you guys call it over there? Like, there's different names for it, kind of like GM. We have different names.
Yeah, is it like director of football?
Director of football.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if he signs the replacement for his brother? Like, what do you think happens in the Gardner household?
When Ryan Woods come in.
He's just give him another 2-year contract, so I think that's Craig Gary's position sorted. Yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked if Gary Gardner ended up in a coaching role with the club anyway, to be honest.
I mean,
realistically, if you're playing our best side, if you put our best side down on paper now, Gardner doesn't get in. If you're playing a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4 or a 4-4-2, Gardner doesn't. Well, no, it's not, is it?
Come on. It is. I just.
Well,
If you want to get naked and wrestle right now,
Come on.
let's do it.
come on, Mark. Come
Cocaine
on.
involved.
Woods and Sunjic. Woods and Sunjic are your midfield too, I think. I don't think it's debatable.
Okay. Check out the first episode of Fat Lads season 4.
Oh, dear.
I mean, you talk about or Gary Gardner possibly getting coaching position. It's kind of funny. One of our basically similar position of one of our Legion players right now, Marcos Ugarte. He's one of our midfielders. Really good player, really good talent. He doesn't play all that often. I think he has 2 appearances for us this season, but he's also our academy head coach. So he does both.
How old is he? How old is he?
I want to say he's like 29, 30.
Okay.
So, I mean, he's not old, but he's definitely, he might be even younger than that. But I mean, he's definitely not old, especially for the USL Championship where you're realistically playing until you're 38.
Yeah.
I mean, who was it? Oh my God. Didier came over. Like he played in Phoenix for a couple of years and absolutely wiped the league because he wiped every league that he was in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been talent come through, but Joe Cole was in the USL for a while, which was weird. He won a lot with Tampa Bay there. But I mean, if you expect a guy like Gardner, if you expect the Gardner family to basically take on coaching roles within Birmingham City, you could definitely see Gary Gardner being involved with the academy somehow, especially when his brother was so active in it as well.
Yeah, what you find when we announced that Craig Gardner was our director of football or GM, as I suppose you'd call him, we had a lot of people taking the piss, basically, especially Villa fans and whatnot. What these people tend to forget is that most football managers start off in roles such as this. They're mostly ex-players. We have no idea whether Craig Gardner will be successful in this role. We have no idea whether Craig Gardner could be the next Alex Ferguson. He won't be, but you never know. They've got to start somewhere, haven't they? And I'm willing to give Gardner the benefit of the doubt and say, why not him? I'd rather him than, I'm sure his first name is Darren Dean, or Verite, or these money men. Why not Craig Gardner? Because he's thick. Other than that, why not Craig Gardner?
I mean,
because he signs his name with a Crayola. Other than that, why not Craig Gardner?
He doesn't have to know how to spell the players' names.
Exactly.
It's fine. There's someone there for that. Someone has that job.
I love Craig Gardner. So when he first came back, he did all the players do their interviews. Their first interview with the club, and they release it on Twitter, and everyone's waiting for it. And they all say, "Oh, don't forget to say keep right on at the end. Don't forget to say this," and they tap the badge. Craig Gardner's one was so sincere and so honest, and he was so happy, genuinely happy to be back at Blues. You just think, you know what? Make him a chairman.
He couldn't read the script, Mark.
Basically, yeah. He had to come from the art. He wasn't coming from the eyes.
They gave him the script and they were like, read off this. And he was like, oh, boys, up the Blues. I mean, we're going up.
That's him. No, I love Craig Gardner. I think he's great. I'm chuffed to bits for him and his brother.
I would like to think in 4 to 5 years' time that Birmingham City Football Club is basically just like the Gardner Mafia, where
Like the craze.
Everybody involved with management and coaching and executives on the board are basically just all Gardner's family. Yeah,
we're that obsessed with Peaky Blinders. We're desperate
and
to
nobody messes with the Gardners.
Boya walks in, he has to kiss the ring every time.
Yeah.
So realistically for you guys, I mean, you talked about it, about, you know, guys like Juke and guys like Hogan, if they're really on their game, if the whole team's on their game right now, it seems like you're really thinking about, we could get a promotion spot or hit a playoff spot and just see what happens from there. But it seems like obviously that's not the end goal. And obviously the goal is not to stay up in the championship long term. But going from barely being safe within a couple weeks to being automatically promoted is not an easy feat. Realistically, for a successful season for you guys, what do you think that is?
Not get relegated.
Yeah. Honest to God, a successful season for us would be for us, us three, and Jack, and any other Blues podcast to basically go on holiday in February, because we've got nothing to talk about. Like, it's been the most boring season, and we're 13th, and we're not going up and we're not going down. But like, I'd take that. That would genuinely be progress, like from what we've experienced over the last few years. So yeah, it sounds silly, and maybe we should have a bit more optimism than just saying, give me 13th right now and I will run to the hills with it. But yeah, I would. Yeah.
I mean, guaranteeing safety. I mean, even though it is a championship and it's a league that everybody wants to get out of, obviously for the better.
We've done our best to get out of it.
I mean, you definitely want, obviously, to get out of it, but guaranteeing safety and just fans knowing that they don't have to worry about their team going down to League One or, you know, end up with whatever situation that comes after that. You know, you don't want to deal with whatever finance fallout comes from that. But how long does it take for the Blues fan base, which is one of the most passionate around? Everybody knows that the Blues are some of the most passionate fans. You know, how long do they take safety before is it 1 season, 2 seasons, long enough to let Lee get his boys in, or is it like it needs to happen soon?
Good question. I don't know.
I think it depends on the gaffer. Depends on how much progress they're seeing. If this season we see progress on the pitch, we play slightly better football than we have done, we score a few more goals than we have done, and finish 13th, I think people will genuinely say that's a decent season. Let's crack on next season. So yeah, maybe 2 to 3 years.
The thing is, though, say 2 to 3 years we don't go up. What do you do? Sack him and get someone else?
Get him out.
Not go up then.
Yeah.
Like, the problem with football and sport in general is we all think we deserve to be in the top flight. Someone has to be in the championship. Unfortunately, we are one of those teams that belongs in the championship because we are not good enough to go up. And it could be a very, very long time, if not eternity, until we are good enough to go up. Someone has to be in the championship, and it's us. And that's the reality of things. And yes, we all like to think a promotion push is on the way, but there's 23 other teams in that division who think this could be our year. I think to sack him after 3 years, 3 years of mid-table mediocrity, do you know what? Some teams just belong in mid-table mediocrity, and maybe we're one of them. Maybe I'm just beaten
down. What a
miserable
bastard.
Mate, I've got a newborn and I've had about 4 hours sleep over the last 2 weeks, so I'm allowed to be miserable a bit. Maybe we need to know our place. I don't know.
I mean,
know your place.
Well, we've fought relegation for 4 out of the last 5 years or whatever.
I know.
Let's talk about delusions of grandeur. We now, because we beat Cheltenham 3-0, we now think we're going to piss the league. Like, we've got Barrow tomorrow. Well, I'm sure we'll beat them as well. Don't mean we're going to start taking on Man City, does it?
Show a little respect. Barcelona, they call themselves like a non-league. I mean, in all reality, in the championship this year, I mean, what are you looking at? Who are the big dogs with the big money? You got Sheffield, you got West Brom, and then maybe Bournemouth. I mean, those are really the guys that you're really worried about next year. Those are going to be the ones pushing for automatic promotion. I mean, at least that's the way I think it's probably going to be. But granted, we don't know how far Sheffield United has completely unraveled after that disastrous of a season last year. But, I mean, who says that? I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a stretch for Birmingham City to finish, I think, in a promotion playoff spot. But, I mean, looking at some of the teams and look at some of the names, I mean, the big names that you expect to be there aren't as good anymore. You always expect Derby, however you guys pronounce it. It's a Derby County for us. But you always expect them to be up there. But in all reality, they probably should have been relegated last year. I mean, why not Birmingham City? It really is the question at this point.
Why not? Why
I'll
not?
pop
Okay.
off for our farewell mark answers. Why not?
The answer is Blackburn Rovers, Bournemouth, Bristol City, Cardiff City, Middlesbrough, Nottingham Forest, maybe Preston North End, Reading, Sheffield United, Swansea, and West Brom. That's why not Birmingham City.
Fair
It's
enough.
the most honest answer I can give you. We've, as I say, and I know it's a very negative, but we fought relegation for a reason. And yes, we are tinged with this hope that this could be the turnaround season. We have got some decent names in. Ryan Woods is a very good player. This left back who's on loan from, is it Chelsea? Castillo for me, or whatever his name is, comes with a decent reputation. Chong, as we've talked about enough. Jordan Graham, who had a brilliant season at Gillingham. You know what? This could be our season. And when the whistle blows, it's 11 blokes against 11 blokes. But statistically speaking, we're shit.
I mean, it definitely seems like there is more. I mean, like we said a lot already, a lot more. They have an idea of what's going on. I mean, last year I thought that you guys had the personnel to go up, and then you had Karenka, who had no idea what he was doing, and then you had some guy who managed to have 7 caps for the Spanish national team because I think everybody else died. I mean, you had basically 2 guys. I mean, really, it wasn't all on 2 guys, but I mean, Karenka just had no idea what he was dealing with, and you had actual good talent that could do something, and it just seemed to bottle, and everybody else has caught up because the championship, even though it is the second tier, it gets better and better every single year because footballers get better and better, and there's only so much room at the top, right? I mean, so
Pugh hit the nail on the head when he talks about Leeds with their work rate.
I normally do.
Oh yeah, don't we
I normally do.
Yeah, what you got with me and Pugh here is Pugh is the head. He's all brains and he knows all the stats and all the figures, and I'm heart. And I'll tell you his shit, and next week I'll tell you we're going to rule the world.
Yes,
I'm the flippant one. But he's right when he talks about the desire, the work rate, things like that matter so much in the championship. You can be the next Leeds, but you've got to work your socks off to get there. I worry that we haven't quite got those players that are working that ready to work their socks off just yet. Harley Dean was great once Bowyer arrived, but he's very quick to throw the towel in when he's not happy with a manager. Pedersen can be great, but he's always a pace behind the opposition winger. We've got players, but whether they're willing to break their backs to get there concerns me. Maybe Bowyer can bring that out of them, and that's at the end of the day, you need a man manager, and maybe Bowyer's that man. Time will tell. I as a Blues fan, you're very wary about getting too optimistic because it always comes around to bite you on the arse.
So
but we'll do it anyway.
But we'll do it anyway because we'll beat Sheffield United 1-0, and then I'll tell you that Champions League within 5 years.
I mean, that's where you're supposed to be anyway. Dong said it himself.
Well, exactly.
I mean, whether the team shows up or not, I mean, it seems like as long as I've been alive and have been following English football in general, it seems like there's been a few standout fans. I mean, Birmingham City fans, I've always remembered them being awesome on TV. I remember that you guys showing up and just having a lot of energy. Now that, as it is, July 19th and COVID has ended, congratulations, boys.
We did it. We lost the Euros, but we beat COVID. Up the lads. COVID's coming.
Not this time, please. I mean, what do you expect the first day officially against St. Andrews, because someone decided it was a good idea to change it for like a month and now it's back? Money. I mean, what do you think the fans are going to do? I mean, do you think it's going to be a packed out, or do you think it's going to be just, normal Blues championship match?
Well, they announced today, Pugh, maybe you can clear this up because I didn't quite pay attention to it, but not today. You're going to need a vaccine passport or something to enter large events. So you need to prove that you've had 2 doses of the vaccination.
For football grounds as well?
That's the question I'm about to ask you, so I hope you've got an answer, otherwise I'm going to look stupid. Pugh, what is the answer to that? No idea.
Pugh's line's gone. Very funny. What was that? No, I saw that it was I saw that it was nightclubs.
They're saying
they're doing it for, but
they're saying large sporting events. You two talk, and I'll
Right.
try and find the answer.
okay.
I mean,
Well, I'll answer it on the basis that, you know, even if you do have to show like hopefully it can be like a negative lateral flow test as well, or something like that.
No, apparently it's passport only. It's 2 jabs.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even if it is, you know, I do fully expect every ticket to be sold for that first game, especially with the reduced attendance that we can have with the remedial works that are going on to the Cop and the Tilton. So it'll be a reduced crowd anyway. But yeah, I think it'll be a sellout. And I just think that, you know, wanting to be there at that first game back, you know, for 18 months or whatever it's been, it'll have been at that point. It'll be incredible to be in there, to be watching football again. It'll be fantastic.
They haven't officially said football yet, but it's kind of expected that it will be announced.
I mean, it's kind of isn't it kind of amazing that, I mean, I don't assume that it's going to sell. I mean, people have missed football. I mean, I know for us, we were able to go to matches for Birmingham Legion, but it was extremely reduced capacity. And then we finally were able to open it up, and we've had some nights where it was full, and it was like, this is what it's like to be back. And I'm sure for you guys, I mean, I'm surely there are 29,000 ladies and gentlemen out there who have been stabbed twice who want to go support the Blues. I mean, it's a big city. Surely there's enough, you know, obviously it's probably going to sell out, but I mean,
none of us want to do it. We feel obliged to do it.
Yeah. Well,
what we're burdened with.
Yeah.
I mean, I can just, for a lot of you guys, especially because Mark and I talked about this a lot before, and I've talked about this with other people who live all over the country and all over the world on this podcast, is that, you know, for you guys, supporting a club is different than me supporting a club. The Birmingham Legion, for me, they started with the Hammers, which was really the same team, but different name, basically a rebrand. But that even just goes back 6 years ago. And I have a lot of love for this club, but for you guys, it goes back hundreds of years. You know, it's where your mom, your dad, and your grandma and your grandpa, and so on and so forth went on. I mean, that first time that, you know, the whole crowd is singing "Keep Right On" together, I mean, can only imagine that it's just going to be, that's the loudest one that you're ever going to hear in your life.
Yeah. It's going to be, spine tingling. But then, Pugh, you were at the final, weren't you? The Euros final. That must have been pretty.
I was.
Spine tingling hearing some of those.
Yeah, it was. It was incredible.
On the cocaine, really.
Yeah, well, hey, it helped. It helped.
You missed it as well.
Yeah. So I but you're right. Obviously, you know, hearing "Keep Right On" for the first time with Blues fans again back at home is going to be incredible. But yeah, I think just every silly little thing, like meeting friends in the pub before the game, and you know, the whole event, if you like, of going to watch a football match, because we'll probably stink the place out and lose 3-0, but you know, for the build up, for everything that entails going to a football game, you know, to get that back will be, it's something that probably we will take lightly again come December, but yeah, certainly on that first game back, it'll be something like every little step will be treasured. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to the first Who at the substitution.
Yeah,
because that will never not be funny, especially when it's some proper prima donna who's never experienced it before. And we all shout Pugh when he comes on.
No idea what's going on. Yeah.
That'll never not be funny.
I love y'all's announcer too, because he definitely leads it on.
Pretends he's never heard of these global superstars.
Yeah.
I mean, what an atmosphere, you guys. And then how did I'm guessing the Who thing, like, do y'all even know when that one even started? I mean, everybody does it, but I mean, for you guys, for it to be just a massive whole tradition and not just a weird, like one random section does it, do you guys know when that started?
I couldn't tell you the exact time. Do you know the game, Pugh?
Yeah, it was in the 90s. It started.
But it was genuine. It was genuine. Who is that?
Yeah, but
we didn't hear the announcer.
But there was the announcer was Ian Dancer. I don't know if Kayla's ever heard of him. He works for a radio station here called Talk Sport. And he's a Blues fan, and he used to do the tannoy. And then it started off with like a genuine who are these people? Because like we were in what is now League One, and like hadn't got a clue. But the first time it really took effect was I think we had Newcastle at home in the cup, and Alan Shearer came on, and it was just the perfect opportunity to really like throw this chance to the world, to introduce it to everybody in such a ridiculous way. And like we knew Shearer was coming on, and I think there was like everybody in the crowd was like,
"We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it."
That scene from The Office where Steve Carell comes out and goes, "Okay, it's happening. Everybody calm down." It must have been like that at St Andrews. Like, this is our moment. Everybody shush now, complete silence, and let the tannoy man do his thing. But yeah,
and we all patted ourselves on the back like we were the funniest people on the planet.
That's right. Yeah,
I mean, it's enough to be somewhat iconic. I mean, that Talk Sports, I get clips of that on Twitter all the time. And man, some of the people that call in on that show absolutely crack me up. I think you guys talked about it, or maybe it was somebody else, but Lad turned off the Euros because Grealish got subbed off. Like, okay.
Yeah.
You watched for 30 minutes and turned it off. Okay.
The things with that one, those two presenters, Cundy and what's the other geezer?
Goldstein.
They think they're comedians, so it wouldn't surprise me if that phone call was all set up anyway.
Yeah.
It's called Talk Sport. It's not. It's Talk Football. They don't care about other sports. I can't listen to it. I can't stand it. I listen to Classic FM instead.
Talk London football as well.
Talk London football. Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
We
have, and just sports in general. It's the SEC network, and there's this host called Paul Feinbaum, and he's not from, but he was a host in Birmingham forever. And his shtick was that he took lots of phone calls, and it was from a bunch of drunk rednecks who they just started yelling things. You can usually tell the ones who did or didn't have teeth, the ones who did or didn't make it past third grade. I mean, and it's just the most ridiculous things. I think he called in once, actually. I mean, just ridiculous stuff. I mean, you love hearing the low lives of, I shouldn't use that word, but the ones who should not be on a radio station call into a radio station, because it's never fun. It's never entertaining, but you always listen because you always give it a listen every single time.
Yeah.
Like watching a car crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's about all the talking points I had. It was a blast talking to you guys. I don't know if you guys have any like things you want to bring up with the club or like Birmingham Legion and what's been going on this year, besides the fact that we haven't played 3 games because it keeps getting rained
off. Yeah.
My God. That field, I mean, it used to not be this bad, and then suddenly the drainage system just doesn't work. I mean, we had both of our owners on the pitch out there squeegeeing the field off with rain just so we could play that match. I'm like, you guys have got to be kidding me. Like, there's, as much as I appreciate our director of football, our 2 owners who are billionaires, on the pitch themselves, cleaning it off, we shouldn't have to. Like, why does the field
have you not got the drainage system, or does it just not work?
We have one, but the UAB just apparently doesn't upkeep it, because back in 2018 we had our share of storms and big rain, because that's what happens here. It gets hot and then it cools off and it rains. That's just what happens. And it did not pull up like this, but that was back when they still cared about the field and us being residents inside the stadium. And now it seems like they don't care that much, considering we had an entire beach on the field where most of it was sand. I know it's ridiculous. The whole pitch was sand. I was down at field level for that indie game, and whenever the ball would roll, you would see a sand fling off the ball about 3 feet in the air. You could see it coming off the ball, and it's like,
No way.
I mean, ridiculous.
Are you going to get your own stadium, or is that not financially viable?
It's expensive. Phoenix Rising built their own pop-up stadium, which means it can be taken down if the club were to move or fold, or which would be unfortunate, but that was a $2 million project.
Jeez.
So, and we're looking about the same. It'd be about a 150 million to 200 million project for us as well, for us to get our own stadium. So it's either us stay there where it's a 500,000 capacity, which is about right. I mean, we're sitting around 5,000 to 6,000 fans. We'll sell out consistently. But our other option is moving over to Protective Stadium, which is a new stadium, but it's about 45,000 capacity. So, I mean, it'd be like Wickham Wanderers showing up and trying to sell out Wembley every single weekend. It'd just be, they would be loud and they would have fun, but there wouldn't be much of them.
Yeah.
So not worth it. It just sucks. But it was good talking to you, lads. Pugh, thank you for coming on for the first time. You were an absolute blast. And Mark, good luck with the kids and the newborn. I'm sure you're having an absolute blast.
Oh yeah, sleep's overrated. Sleep's for the weak. But also, this is the first time I spoke to you since. Congratulations on your engagement.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
She's a very lucky lady.
It was the scariest thing I've ever done in my life.
I bet it was. At any point, did you think she'd say no?
The whole time, because
I thought she'd say no.
And I was sitting there, and we've talked about it for about a year, and we were like, yeah, we're going to say yes, and we're happy about it. And then I was standing in the moment, and she was like, she's going to slap me or something. Like, I have the audacity to do this. Yeah, it was terrifying.
I'm glad it all worked out for you, mate. I'm waiting by the letterbox for the invite, mate. I'll book the flights.
Luckily for you guys, Mr. Blue Sky's already one of her favorite songs, so it's already on the playlist. Well, thank you guys so much for joining, and thank you everybody for listening. Obviously, go listen to Fat Lads Go and Goal. It's the best blues podcast around. It's the funniest one, and it's the most relatable one for sure. So go check
he's right. I think he's right. Yeah,
I'm biased, but I agree.
I think that's right.
Go check them out. Thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time, guys, keep hammering on.